Who do you think would be receptive to it? What kind of audience can rise to this?
We started out thinking about nonprofits and particularly in my own mind, thought about the relationship between a nonprofit CEO and their chairperson. And if that's a healthy relationship where they can work together as partners, then you're much more likely to have an effective nonprofit. So we targeted at that focus group and then said, gee, would it ripple out to other boards of nonprofits, the management teams? I mean, we started thinking about it, this is not just for fundraisers, because really, honestly, everybody involved, the team, is there to get resources, knowledge, network, contacts, relationships. And funnily enough, as we continue to talk about the Generosity Network, we have people coming in. I have a friend of mine who's a congressman, Tim Ryan, who said, I read the book and this applies exactly to everything I do, trying to connect and build relationships in my own constituents. And I want to use this. I'm not going to have any of these big galas anymore. And then we had another guy come in and say, this applies to real estate brokers and how they develop in their local communities networks of good and action so that they deepen their relationships so that, one, they'll get more business, but two, they'll have better lives.
And I love the fact that you said with Congressman Ryan, Jeff, that it's, about building his constituency. And, something we talk about in the book and certainly practice is the word client comes from the Latin word clientum, which means to lean against. And, typically in a contract, you kind of negotiate all the terms of the contract up front, and then you work very hard to fulfill them. Jeff and I and the members of the Generosity Network really think of it much more as a consortium. And the word consortium comes from the Latin word constare, which means to stand together. And you don't negotiate all the terms up front. You initiate a learning journey, a journey of how you're going to work together, how you're going to start to weave other people into it. How's it never going to end in a certain way? Because even if the specific project you're working on together concludes, what's next? Presumably you're going deeper and deeper and learning more and more and growing. And so I think this appeals to people who are much more interested in creating a consortium than necessarily a client base.